And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're talking about some very interesting things. I've received a video from one of my clients. He said, bro, you should do a reaction on this one. And it's about a guy named Larry Wheels. I guess he's a famous bodybuilder. Never heard of him before. And we're gonna do a reaction about his overcoming my addictions. Okay, so let's just get started.
What's going on, guys? So for about the last 3 years, I have been battling an addiction that has been compromising my future and my relationships. So when you go on adult sites, you may see ads for campsites. Well, sometimes I'd spend an hour or two on an adult site trying to find the perfect video, and then one day I finally caved in and wanted to see what the fuss about these campsites were. Probably the worst decision I've ever made, because I got sucked in slowly but surely. Slowly over time, it started off with maybe one or two $10 purchases, tipping them out of $10 here and there. Innocent, nothing huge, nothing significant. But after about 3 to 6 months of experimenting and visiting these campsites, I realized myself going on it more and more frequently. And fast forward to the last, I want to say 8 months, every single month, I have been spending any and every last bit of extra money that I have come in monthly on campsites, on online paid porn, on models, and it has not only compromised my relationship, but my future. Luckily, I have a very understanding partner. You guys all know her as Nicole Drinkwater, and I finally had the courage to open up to her about it, because I had no savings, I had nothing for my future, nothing, and even at one point I was getting into a negative balance, and I had to make excuses as to why I couldn't afford to go out to this nice dinner, or why we couldn't take this trip here, or why I couldn't do this or that. I had to make excuses because I wasn't ready to admit the truth. The truth is,
let's just talk a little bit about this, shall we? I mean, there's a lot of things that we can talk about. But first of all, just like the last reaction video that I had about Tayshawn's adventure, bro, this guy's also feminine, okay? Amazing how it looks like. Look at his body, man. People look like, man, that guy looks masculine. I mean, he's got these features. He's got, he's got everything that a masculine man would want, except for emotional control. Being able to control his thoughts, being able to control his behavior so that he can achieve his dreams and goals. If you understand that masculinity is that, it's not this, what we're seeing here, even though that's a crucial aspect of masculinity as well, okay? But that's like the 20% of masculinity that you should want to achieve. Like I've got some body goals as well. I'm gonna eventually get there, right? But the whole point is that's not a priority right now for me. My priority is building up my future, my business, my family in the future are going to be safe. Okay? That's what matters. And he's wasting away. He's 80%. Now he's coming, he's facing the truth. He's actually doing that which is necessary for him to overcome his addiction. That's one of the biggest things you can do, really, is to open up about it. Maybe going on YouTube is a bit too much because, you get a lot of backlash for it, and the transparency is extreme and the criticism, etc. But, like, at the same time, though, he's gonna improve now that he's admitted it. That's the first step for recovery. Many of you guys are trying to overcome your addictions and the stuff that you've been struggling with in the past without telling anyone. That's also feminine. The fact that you're not willing to reveal your past, reveal your mistakes to people that you trust. Okay, you don't have to say it to the whole world or on YouTube like Larry Wheels is doing. But what you can do is to get a coach, to get someone that you can be open up about and explain everything too, because that is going to help you to overcome your addiction once and for all. That, like, the shame and the guilt that people have because of their addictions is extreme, and very often that is a bigger burden than the actual addiction itself. Once you manage to get over the aspect of being okay with sharing it with someone that you can trust, that's not going to tell anyone, that has, that can keep that secret with you, if you will, but you've revealed the secret to someone, it's a huge thing. And that's what he's doing, and I'm very proud of Larry Wheels for doing that, so that he can take the necessary recovery steps that are necessary to overcome this issue. Does that make sense? So, but, yeah, so as I was explaining, it's his femininity that is the problem here. How do we overcome this femininity, though? Where does it come from? Well, first of all, he's got tons of testosterone, right? Obviously, when he builds as much as he does, it creates testosterone all on its own. If he's taking added testosterone, I don't know. I don't know how all that bodybuilding stuff is. A lot of guys are doing crazy stuff in that arena. But let's say all of this muscle and build that he has is natural. Okay, let's just say that it is. If it is, wow, okay, he's got tons of testosterone, but not the ability to control his sexual behavior. So where does that lack of control in his sexual behavior come from? It comes from his ejaculations, okay? He is obviously not practicing semen retention. Okay, so if this is the root cause of all addiction. In the beginning, in the beginning of your of puberty, in your teenage years, that was the time when you should have grabbed hold of that addiction and stopped, okay, and practiced discipline and self-control, and not masturbated, not watch porn, not do all that stuff, and being voluntary celibate until you're ready for 3 girls in love. That's what I would have recommended. He followed the path of probably in his, early teenage years, maybe 11, 10, 11, 12 years old, he's beginning to masturbate, and then he started watching porn probably. And then over time, he was like, bro, I want to look good for the girls and the ladies, and I love health, and I love bodybuilding, so let's get started with that. And he probably did that in his teenage years. And then over time, during that time as well, he's probably sleeping around with his girlfriend, or maybe there was several girlfriends, and then he started partying. Trust me. There's the root of all addiction was the fact that he did not control himself in terms of no porn, no masturbation. That's the root cause of all addiction. Once you grow up, why is that? What happens when you're not on semen retention? Your sperm production, okay, and not just your sperm, but your sperm desire or your desire for sexual gratification is on hyperdrive. You understand what hyperdrive is? It's when you're on, it's like when you're driving a car and you're in the red. Okay, that's hyperdrive. It's when you're like, me, okay, because you need things all the time. I mentioned this quote yesterday on the Girls of High Value, not Girls of High Value, what am I saying? The 3 Girls in Love channel. I've changed the name. Yesterday I mentioned the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, which is, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. And this is what happens when you continuously ejaculate. You're going against nature. Nature has it so that men in their teenage years and beyond are supposed to move towards masculinity, which is discipline, self-control, being able to control your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior, etc. If you're not doing that, if you're simply, oh man, I love immediate gratification and I'm gonna do immediate gratification because that's what I feel like, then you're remaining in your femininity, in your small little boyhood days, and just wasting away your life. Wasting away your money, obviously, because this is what's happening with him, right? That root thing of not being able to control himself as a teenager is going to follow him throughout his life. Okay? Because it's so hard. Once you've had an addiction, and that is an addiction, porn and masturbation, once you've had that addiction for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, could you imagine trying to get off of that stuff? It's hard. Like, it really messes up your brain. And if anyone out there tells you that, no, ejaculation is okay, like, there's nothing wrong with it, it's a problem. Okay? If women tell you that, oh, it's not a problem. I saw this one video the other day where a woman said that. Do not be fooled. Men are different than women. Okay? Women shouldn't watch porn either. It messes them up psychologically as well. However, I don't think there's anything wrong with them masturbating on their own. Okay? Because that's better that they do that than invest in a guy. But for guys, they should completely abstain not only from sex until they're ready for their family and long-term committed partners for life, but they should also not watch porn, no masturbation, and no edging either, okay? Because that's what's going to help you to be firm and secure in your behavior, your emotions, and your thoughts. Okay, I'm going on a rampage here. He hasn't even finished 1/3 of his video. But I'm just explaining the situation here. The root cause of it all was that. Masturbation. That's it. Because when he got a girlfriend, then he could now masturbate. Like, with her. That's basically what, sex is when you're in hyperdrive. Because if you're in hyperdrive, you need sex. You need sex. And so he ended up having sex with his girlfriend, and he's getting better and better girlfriends over time. Obviously, this woman is famous, obviously. Why is she not enough? Have you ever considered that question? Why? Why do men have a need for campsites or have a need for porn? Like, why do 50% of married men plus, okay, watch porn? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's because they're emotionally unfulfilled. Marriage sucks. Monogamy sucks, okay? No matter how you turn and angle it, oh yeah, but you can discipline yourself in marriage. Yes, you can. But guess what happens? I'm going deeply into the explaining also about the 3 girls in love thing here because it's important. Monogamy unfulfills men, especially if they're masculine, and this guy's actually working on his masculinity every single day, but hasn't been working on this. He's so focused on his career, which is bodybuilding, which puts a lot of stressors on his body and on his brain, on his mental capacity. He's putting, he's getting all the nutrition, but he's so stressed that he needs the emotional reward of having a fulfilling sex life. And when you're together in monogamy with one woman, it is not very rewarding, no matter how amazing she is, because she will always lose attraction to you in a long-term relationship. That's the reason. That's the core of every single long-term relationship why men suck. Because he's very disciplined on building, on his bodybuilding to the point where he cannot be disciplined about his sexual urges. Okay, so he's kind of like, okay, I'm giving my all to my career, but man, I've got so much stress in my life that I need the emotional fulfillment reward from having a fulfilling sex life. Okay, and if you're in monogamy, you will not have it. You will not have it. It's physically impossible. So what happens instead? Well, but Joseph, there are guys who are disciplined and who are faithful and stay in their relationship no matter what. Yes, there are. Do you know what happens to them in terms of their careers? Nothing. Okay? Because they're so focused on controlling their brains and being there for God and doing, religion stuff and making sure that they're all about family and taking care of their woman and then their kids and doing all things right and ejaculating, of course, because that's what men do. And then when they do that, they're now in hyperdrive continuously, and that stops them from being consistent in their businesses. It stops them from being consistent in achieving their dreams and goals. It stops them in every other area of life, and it sabotages everything else. But they're managing to control them being faithful to their women. Okay? there are few exceptions to the rule. And those few exceptions to the rule are guys like Grant Cardone, are guys like, do you understand what I mean? Like guys that are massively successful in business and that have full control over their, behaviors, their thoughts, their emotions, etc. But those are exceptions to the rule. Why not have a system that allows you to that allows 80% or 95% to be successful? Because that's how the universe was designed. It was not designed in such a way for only 5% or 1% or 0.1% of people to be massively successful and everyone else not. The universe has so much resources, so much abundance, that it's absolutely ridiculous that everyone does not have the same abundance and that they're bickering about, oh, I wish that the rich would share with us. It doesn't work like that. You were designed to get rich. Everyone can be rich. You have no idea the capacities of this earth for resources. Okay? So anyway, I'm just explaining to you guys. Hope you're understanding what I'm saying. Let's watch the rest of the video, but for a second, I'm just going to close the doors to the kids' rooms because I can hear them and messes it up the video. So, hold on a second. Do some push-ups. So, let's continue the video.
I had been wasting all of my money on this campsite addiction. And I have always been someone who I felt was good with money in the sense where I didn't spend my money on clothes, on anything materialistic, on cars, on anything that I didn't need. So when this came about, I don't see how it took me so long to realize how bad it got. And when I realized how bad it got, it was a case of every day saying, okay, this is the last time. And that had went on for months and months. Now, I came up with a system with Nicole after I opened up with her where every single morning she goes through all of my bank accounts. She knows where all my money comes in and where all of my money goes. Now, we've built up that trust and it has been working. So for the last, I want to say 2 months we had the system in place, I haven't spent any money relating to anything that I was wasting all my money on. So
okay, that's awesome that they're doing that. But who's the man in the relationship? Who's got the pants? Who's the one who's in control? It's the woman, okay? So basically, what he's been doing is he's making his woman the masculine one in the relationship, and she's the one who controls everything. I think it's awesome that they're helping each other and that she's helping him, but she's now basically playing more of the mother nurturing role. Nothing wrong with that temporarily, okay, just so that he can overcome his addiction. But what I would have recommended instead is for him to get a coach. That's what he needs. He needs a man coach that goes through his finances, that goes through all of these things. And like, in general, my recommendation is that you as a man should never reveal your finances to your woman. Okay, and that, like, my woman has no idea about how much I'm making or how much money I have, because it's not, she wants to spend it. The moment I mention money to her, she's like, ooh, like that's money that I can spend. No, it's not. We're building our empire here. This is how much you get. And then over time, I will exponentially increase it. Just, try to be patient. It's my fault for being slow, but we're building it up one step at a time. But in my recommendation, that's what I would have done. But it's good that they have a system that they're trying to overcome it together.
I've made huge progress considering the last 2 years, all of my extra money has been going to these campsites, leaving me with nothing every month. And in the last 6 months, in a negative balance. But before the pandemic happened is when we had this system in place. So had I kept this up, had we not worked out a solution, I'd be in a very bad place right now. Maybe having to borrow money from a friend or get a loan out. I don't know what I'd be doing, but I'm so grateful to have such an understanding and loving partner to help me work through this addiction, because I wouldn't have been able to progress from how I can see it without her. We actually had worked out a really great system. It's still working right now. Haven't spent any money on anything related to that, and I'm proud of myself, and it saved the relationship, because had I kept doing it, of course, there would be no more relationship. So
it's very interesting to explain or to notice what happens when you don't fix this one addiction early on in your life. Okay, my boys, they're now turning 10, and he's gonna turn 7 next year, the other one. He just turned 6, and I'm ready. Okay, I'm fired up outside my brain, and they, like, my oldest already knows about how his body works and how things are gonna happen. There's gonna be changes to his body and all that stuff, and I'm so ready to explain to him and to help him to overcome his desire to continuously ejaculate, maybe even watch porn, all that stuff. He's not doing that at all right now, because I checked, and all that stuff. But the whole point I'm explaining is that I'm fired up to help him to overcome that one first addiction early on in his life, so it's not a part of him forever. Okay, because if he can have that, it sets him up for massive multi-millionaire success. I'm literally serious now. Because femininity, if you install the femininity in you, like is the situation with Larry Wheels right now, no offense, bro, I'm so proud of you that you're making changes, that you're improving. You're awesome. I didn't know who you were before this, so this is all I know about you, right? But in terms of not having the worries that your femininity is going to screw you over in every single area of life, not just your money situation, which is, financial. This is your security. This is one of your important confidence blocks, that I think it's important to have finances in order. Number 2, your relationships. Your relationships will suck because you are not able to control your emotions. Number 1, in terms of being angry and escalating things together with your woman all the time as a feminine creature, she's going to be feminine. She's going to seek to be understood. You're going to seek to be understood instead of seeking to understand. And so you're going to escalate all the time and basically be like, your arguments are gonna be like crazy, okay? Like where you throw things at each other and you get cuts and she slaps you and violence. Bro, you have no idea what happens in relationships, because women have a status thing, so they're not gonna tell you what happens in their relationship. They're gonna keep everything on the down low, and the guy, why would he ever share with his guy friends that he's beating up his woman at home? Did you understand what I mean? Like, this happens. Domestic violence is a thing, okay? But a lot of people are not talking about it, and very often, as long as it's not in the face, you don't see what's happening. You don't see the bruises on the arms. You don't see I've literally been in apartments where I've listened to couples above. Like, there's things happening up there. I'm not going up there. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like, yes, maybe. I'm just saying that there's a lot of crap going on, and all of that came from femininity, from not controlling your sperm production and getting your optimal sperm production as a teenager. That's where it all comes from. Your femininity. It's installed within you. It's not only in relationships, it's not only that aspect. There's most people manage to control their violence, okay, so that it doesn't get to that level, but they fight. And fighting is unnecessary in a relationship. But the other aspect of relationships, he's obviously unfulfilled in the bedroom, and that's why he needs campsites. That's why he needs porn. That comes from lack of sperm production control, right? Lack of semen retention. It's awesome when you're on semen retention, because then you want sex, okay? Your desire increases exponentially, but your need for sex doesn't. That's what's awesome about semen retention. You have no need, but tons of desire. That's the kind of thing that you want to have. And it would help every single aspect of his life. This guy, man, he would be awesome if you practice semen retention. He would even improve on his physical stature and achieving his goals with his business, with relationships, with everything, if you practice semen retention. Semen retention is amazing, but it's basics. Okay, so this guy doesn't have basics down. He's done everything else, like extravagance, blah, blah, blah. But because of that, he gets to the top with 1.2 million subscribers or whatever, and he has the potential of making like millions a year, and then he's collapsing because of campsites and porn. What the hell? Like, the foundational piece was masculinity, understanding the big picture of masculinity and controlling one's thoughts, and then understanding that it all stems from a lack of practicing semen retention as a teenager. That's where it all stems from.
How I came about to opening up about it to her was because I so desperately wanted to overcome it. I realized how much of it has consumed me, and not only while I was active on it, spending money in the moment, but even when I go to the gym and do other activities, I find myself constantly thinking about the next opportunity I would get to spend money. And
it was the next opportunity to spend money. It was the next opportunity to see women do what he wants them to do in front of him. That's what campsites are. It's not like, ooh, I'm so excited to spend my money. No, it's you're excited to see sex, to see, to see women performing for you. That's what you're excited about. And that's what you're spending money on.
I was so embarrassed and humiliated to open up to her about this that when I opened up, I had to have her stand behind me because I couldn't bear to look her in the face and tell her where all my money has been going.
Dang.
And it was the best decision I have made because, as I said, it has saved our relationship. It has saved my future. I now have a savings, and
it has not saved his relationship. Let me just clarify this in the moment. Right now, he might look at his woman as an unconditional woman who loves him no matter what. A woman, like, they don't have unconditional love. It doesn't exist in a woman for a reason. The universe designed it this way as well. It's all conditional. And right now, the conditional aspect is that he has a massive YouTube channel. He's a very nice guy. He treats her right, but he has this issue with campsites and porn. She's looking at her options and she's like, are there other guys that are better? And then I've got this past with this guy. Like, I really love him as a friend, and he's amazing, and he's got the amazing body, and blah, blah, blah. And so she's like, yeah, which one should I choose? Well, okay, you know what? I'm going to give him a chance. I want him to become better. I want him to improve, and I can help him on his journey. So this is what's going through her brain. And he's now being disciplined about it. So ever since they talked about it and they're progressing. He's actually progressing. That's the only thing that women want to know. As long as you're progressing in the right direction, there's no other man who comes in and begins to flirt with you, because why are they not? Why are they not flirting with her? Because of him. Have you seen how he looks like? Okay? Like, she doesn't know that there's tons of options of guys who want to come in, but they're respecting this guy because of his stature. They're respecting his, his physical prowess and the fact that they're probably going to be, have their ass kicked if they try to flirt with his woman. Do you understand what I mean? Like, so they're not initiating. So the woman is now still in this relationship, but if there was a guy that was better than this guy, had more power, had basically everything that she wants in a man, and better than the guy that she's with, because of hypergamy, she's always going to take it, especially if they're not living three girls in love. In monogamy, he'd be screwed, okay? If he went bankrupt, he was just months away from her leaving him, okay? So he fixed the relationship at the crucial moment in time, and he said it to himself, like, my relationship could have gone down the drain, but now it's saved. It's not saved. If you do not progress and become better and better and better, and if you continuously relapse, or the system for some reason stops working for you, and you go back to those campsites and porn and strip clubs and all that stuff, then there's going to be issues again, and eventually she'll remember everything that has happened, and that's going to create an exponential decline curve to your relationship. There is no unconditional love from this woman. It has not saved your relationship yet. You're progressing. Right now, you're a child in her eyes, and she's allowing you to do that temporarily so that you can freaking grow up and get to the point of overcoming your addiction so that you can be the man that she always wanted you to be. Okay? She's the masculine one. You're the feminine one. And that's a problem. But the reason why she hasn't left you yet is because of the reasons that I explained. So, if you understand this, as a man, You can know for a fact that your woman will never ever leave you if you understand these principles. Because you know that you need to be at your best behavior all of the time, but you got to be progressing. You got to be moving forward. You got to become more masculine. You've got to set 3 girls in love as your standard, because that helps you to retain them and keeps their hypergamy in check.
Had prevented me from having much worse lockdown, much worse experience of this pandemic had I not overcome this addiction. So shout out to Nicole, because she has been an integral part of this healing process. I can't say I could do it without her. And the message of this video:
imagine if she'd broken up with his ass 3 months ago. He'd be screwed. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like, he was so close. He's saying that she was an integral part of the process. I couldn't have done it without her. Yeah, man, you were that close, bro. Good job for turning things around. It was crucial. Good job.
Is, of course, the first step is admitting you have an addiction. I think that's common knowledge. But for me, what made the biggest difference was opening up to someone who I really loved and trusted. And because of that, because I opened up to her, we were able to work out a solution. So take that and do with it as you will, but this is just what has worked for me, and something I've been struggling with for a long time. And on my social media, how could anyone ever know this is something I was battling? But truth is, we all have our trials and tribulations. This has been the biggest one I have faced in the last few years, and I just want to share it with you guys. I hope it can be useful to some of you. I hope maybe if you're battling an addiction of your own, that you can maybe take my advice and open up to someone you love and trust and work out a solution together. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll be back with more good content coming soon. I love you guys.
Okay, so what I'm gonna say now is this guy's awesome, and there's a massive progression going on in his life, and I'm happy for him. There's gonna be absolutely awesome things going on as he progresses on his masculine journey. So you understand now the difference between masculinity and femininity. This guy's not masculine. He's a child right now. He's still in his femininity. He's still in his childhood years, and he hasn't overcome himself. That's okay. Okay, he's been stressed. He's been going through a lot of issues. But if you understand this, that it's not about, do you have an addiction of this and that and the other? No, there's only one addiction. And the addiction is embracing your femininity and staying with your femininity, staying with your inner bitch. That's the only addiction there is. And our goal in life is to become masculine, to control your thoughts, to control your emotions, to control your behavior all of the time, exactly what you want to do, when you want to do it, so that you can progress exponentially on your journey. That's what it's all about, guys. And if you understand that there's just one thing, and the one thing is progressing towards masculinity, there is nothing else to know. That's it. It's like, life becomes easy now because you know what it is that you need to work on. Only this. You control your thoughts, you control your destiny. That's it. Let's see if there are any questions. Doesn't look like it. You guys are awesome. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.